All right, let's dive right into this explainer and decode a seriously fascinating philosophy that's going to completely reframe how you view success, motivation, and really the whole trajectory of your life. Today, we are unpacking Matthew McConaughey's 10-year hero theory. It's an incredibly powerful framework that totally shifts how you measure your own progress and how you define your ultimate goals in this infinite game we're all playing.
So picture this. Early on in McConaughey's career, an important mentor sat him down and asked him a really simple question. Who is your hero? And you know what? He didn't have an immediate answer. He didn't just rattle off a famous celebrity or an iconic historical figure or even a mentor. It actually took him 2 solid weeks to realize that his hero was himself, specifically himself 10 years in the future.
Look at how brilliantly this plays out over time. When he was 25 years old, his hero was his 35-year-old self. Simple enough, right? But then, when he actually turned 35, that same person came up to him and asked, "Okay, are you your hero now?" And his answer was, not even close. Because of course, the goalposts had moved. His hero had just become his 45-year-old self. By making his hero perpetually uncatchable, he gives himself someone to chase every single day, week, month, and year of his life. You are literally never going to attain it, and honestly, that's the absolute beauty of the whole thing.
Which brings us to Section 1, the cost of half-assing. Let's talk about the moody, heavy reality of what happens when we don't fully commit. There is this agonizing, keep-you-up-at-night torture to half-assing something. You know the feeling, right? When you over-leverage a decision and you just sort of dip a toe in to try it out. The problem is, you never truly know whether you failed or succeeded. You never actually know if you could have pulled it off. Compare that to the absolute high-definition clarity of just going all in. When you dive headfirst and actually finish the thing, you get to look in the mirror and know, definitively. You can say, well, I found out, and that ain't for me. Or you can say, you're damn right, that is for me. Having that absolute clarity, it's an incredibly powerful place to be.
And think about this ironic tragedy of human nature for a second. We will happily bestow a gentle, reassuring pat on the shoulder of a friend when they fall short after giving it their all. Yet, when we fall short ourselves, we give ourselves a swift kick on the way out the door with a really harsh word to follow. We are just so much kinder to others than we are to ourselves. And yeah, we're going to make mistakes. That's a given. But we have to own them, make amends, and then turn the page. Because holding on to that guilt and regret, that will kill you long before your time.
It really all comes down to just one definitive choice to avoid losing an entire decade to pure indecision. Think about folks who lose a job and refuse to take a new one because the salary is just slightly lower and they're just waiting around for that perfect opportunity. Next thing they know, 10 years have vanished and they are stuck in the exact same spot. If you want to catch your 10-year hero, you've got to pick one path, commit to it, and dive in. You build resilience in a real lineage by breaking a sweat on something today, rather than over-leveraging your options and doing absolutely nothing.
Moving right along to Section 2, eliminating who you are not. If you're feeling that overwhelming, crushing pressure of finding yourself, McConaughey actually leans on a fantastic perspective from Bob Dylan here. We are all just what we create ourselves to be. I love this because it completely releases the anxiety of trying to discover some hidden, elusive, true self. It shifts the focus entirely onto the actions we take and the choices we're making right now in this exact moment.
Just think of it as the literal math of subtraction. It is so much easier to figure out who you are not than who you are. By simply identifying and cutting out the things you know for a fact you don't want, eliminating the drama, the toxic habits, the stuff that just totally drains you, sheer mathematics pushes you toward what actually feeds your soul. You don't have to magically stumble upon your true self, you just systematically eliminate what isn't you. Do that, and you'll find yourself exactly where you need to be to chase that 10-year hero.
Okay, so practically speaking, how do we do this? By actively engineering less pain and more satisfaction into our daily routines. You might not be able to guarantee happiness every second, but you can absolutely study the science of satisfaction. First off, don't create false drama. Minimize the things that other people are constantly artificially inflating. Turn the page when things go sideways. And above all else, stop playing the victim. Look, life isn't fair. It never was and it never will be. Falling into that entitlement trap is literally the fastest way to kill your momentum. Get over it and get on with it.
All right, let's hit Section 3, removing fictitious ceilings.
So, have you ever fumbled right at the goal line? Or had a total brain freeze on a test you studied hours for? Or maybe you've had that weird out-of-body experience where you suddenly tense up just because life feels a little too good. That right there is what happens when we create a fictitious ceiling. It's an artificial limit, a self-imposed roof we place over our own joy and our own potential. We wrongly convince ourselves that a euphoric moment, like a massive win or landing the love of our life, is somehow too good to be true and that we don't deserve it. We literally sabotage ourselves right at the peak.
To cure this choke, McConaughey points to the legendary athlete Bo Jackson. When Bo scored a touchdown, he didn't just casually stop at the goal line to do a little celebration dance. No, he ran over the goal line, all the way through the end zone and straight up the tunnel. You cure the choke by staying entirely locked into the process, the pure joy of the doing, and completely ignoring the finish line.
Let's break that down into 3 real, practical steps you can start using today. Step 1, stay in the process. Step 2, aim past the target, exactly like the world's greatest marksmen do. You want your true destination to be way beyond the measurement itself. And step 3, never look at the jumbotron. Seriously, don't watch yourself perform while you're right in the middle of the act. If you follow these 3 steps, the approach itself becomes your destination. Your reach will always exceed your grasp, and the race is basically never over.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 4, Freedom Through Responsibility. Let's be real for a second. Life isn't just straight Saturdays with as much cake as you can eat, right? Breaking a sweat and taking on real responsibility is the exact currency required to buy true freedom. When you take responsibility by appreciating your past, building a lineage, and actually investing in yourself today, you earn that freedom. You build this incredibly healthy optimism because you know, for a fact, you can put the work in and achieve things, and that allows you to run full speed to those immortal finish lines.
The big takeaway here is that we have to fully embrace that there is no final, magical, ta-da moment in life. We never truly land. Instead, we're just constantly achieving our way toward the unachievable. We're always chasing that 10-year hero that we're never actually going to catch. And once you learn to laugh at that irony, you realize it's pretty damn awesome. At the end of the day, you are the author of the book of your life. Nobody else is going to write it for you. So as you look at your own timeline today, what are you going to do? Are you just going to dip a toe in, or are you going to break a sweat, go all in, and start relentlessly chasing your 10-year hero? The clock is ticking, my friends. Just keep living, keep chasing, and we will see you in the next explainer.